What's up, gardeners? Devin is here, and I'm here with my Chicago Hardy fig, Ficus carica Chicago Hardy, and I'm here in Zone 6B, Eastern Pennsylvania. And in this video, I want to go through some of the care techniques and cultural requirements needed to grow our Chicago Hardy fig successfully from season to season to season. Now I'm here in the middle of April. About 1 month ago, right around the first day of springtime, I went to my 2 Chicago Hardy figs to inspect it for any dead growth. What you need to do is to determine whether or not any of the wood has died back over the winter time. Over the course of this last year, this guy didn't lose any of its wood, whereas its friend over there did lose a little bit of its wood, and I'll show you exactly what I did. Now, in terms of situating these plants, they really do best in the absolute most full hot sun. I planted this guy about 2 years ago, and over the course of the first season, I really did spend a good amount of time bringing out my watering pail and giving it some water about once every 2 weeks for the first 3 months, really for the first summer. After that, I haven't supplied it with any additional irrigation, 0 additional fertilizer, and it's doing quite well. What you can absolutely do in the springtime, which I'm about to do, is to give it a nice little layering of some sort of compost or some sort of mulch. I tend to go with the free mulches like my leaf mold compost. And as you can see, it's just now starting to produce some of its buds right along these stems, which means that yes, in fact, it is still alive and doing well, and it will start to grow very rapidly over the course of the summertime. Now this fig over here is looking quite bare, I know, and that is because 1 month ago I cut it back by quite a hefty amount. It was about twice his size, but I could tell that a lot of the growth had become dead over the course of the cold winter time. So I just took my nice sharp shears and cut it back pretty much at all these little spots. And from here, I will just allow it to regenerate new fresh growth, including some new fresh branches. Here you can see it's already producing some new foliage right here towards the base of the plant. Figs, once they have started to grow, really tend to take off. So be prepared for these to grow 18, 24, 30 inches in the course of 1 season, which is pretty incredible. So for now, I'm just gonna allow Mother Nature to do her thing and watch this guy as he grows and starts to produce that iconic, excellent fig foliage, and hopefully I'll get some fruit here in the middle of summer this season. Guys, look at this. This is incredible. It has grown over 6 feet tall. This is a plant that was just a single bare stem, and I said it might grow like 30 inches. Try, what is it, 72 inches. This is absolutely incredible. This is only 1 year old, and there's no fruit on it at all yet, but hopefully it will continue to follow like its brother in its footsteps, which is back there, and I'm gonna show you the fruit that are forming on it right now. So it's really interesting because this plant is 3 years old. It's significantly shorter than its brother over there that's 6 feet tall, but this guy has some fruit that it's producing. This is the first time I've gotten fruit on this guy, and I don't remember if I mentioned it's September 15th, so in the last video it was early April. It's been about 5 months. This guy has grown out beautifully, nice branched, multi-branched shrub, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4 fruit on it. So I think that's pretty good for its very first harvest ever. And you know when they're ripe when you touch it and it's nice and soft. Absolutely sumptuous. Let's just harvest it like that. Oh, there's some ants. Make sure you get rid of any ants that might be on there. Let's open this bad boy up. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, that's what a fig should look like. All right, of course, we got to do a little taste test. It's sweet. The texture is so delightful. The texture is almost like a wonderful watermelon, just really nice and juicy. Absolutely delightful. And the incredible thing is that I was gone for most of the summer here, and the deer ate pretty much a lot of my plants. They didn't touch the figs. It must be this kind of fuzzy foliage that they have. So this is just an incredible plant. I'm here in Zone 6B. It's doing absolutely fine. It's in its 3rd year, producing fruit. It's a beautiful plant. Totally unique foliage, has a wonderful upright growth habit. It's a multi-stemmed shrub / tree, whatever you want. Absolutely divine because it produces fruit at the same time. I'm definitely going to be adding a few more of these to my garden. All right, stay tuned. I'm gonna show you how to care for it in the winter time, preparing it for the winter season. All right, so here we are in the middle of December, and in terms of winter care for our Chicago hardy fig, it's pretty low key, especially for me here in Zone 6B in eastern Pennsylvania. You can see we've had some frost. The leaves have crisped up. I am just gonna allow them to naturally fall away whenever they decide to. You don't need to go and manually remove them. And I'm also not going to prune or trim any of my plant material back. We remember that we don't like to prune hardwood in wintertime because that can encourage what's called desiccation, which is essentially when if I were to cut the stem, the cold air would enter into that newly opened wound and that would dry out some of that topmost stem, causing us to lose more of our stems. So we're gonna wait and do any cutting back next spring. Now for me, really the only thing that I like to do is add a nice layer of mulch. If you are in Zone 5, this is definitely a must. If you're in Zone 7, you may not need to do this, but what I like to do, so I like to use my homemade leaf compost, which I find is one of the best free mulches out there. And I will just add a nice thick layering all around the base of my shrub. I put a nice 4 to 6 inch thick layer of that leaf mold, and I've chosen to do a width that's about 12 inches. And the way to determine how far around you should actually be layering the mulch is basically the extent that your plant creates branches outwards. Basically wherever those branches extend to, we call that the drip line. And so, you know, I can imagine the leaves were out to about this width, so I would come down to that width, and that is the entire area where I will be layering the mulch, and that's typically where the roots will be growing as well. So we want to give all of the roots a nice thick blanket of our mulch during the winter time. And that's about all you need to do to prepare your Chicago hardy figs for the winter time.